We're about to begin now a brand new parak, Ezo Neshech. Today's daf is daf Samach Aleph. We're going to begin with Samach Aleph Beis by the brand new Mishnah, as I said, a brand new parak. To understand the first part of the Mishnah, I'll just give a brief introduction. The Torah states that the Isser against taking interest says if your brother becomes poor and his hand falters with you, so the halacha is you should support him. Whether a stranger or a native, he shall live with you, and you shall not take neshech, which is interest, or tarbus, or increase. Now, the Mishnah asks, Ezo neshech, ve'ezo tarbus. What is neshech and what is tarbus? Ezo neshech. What is the case of neshech? So, the Mishnah gives an example. Hamal v'sela b'chamisha dinar. Person who lends another a sela, and the seller is worth 5 dinars, and he lends it and says, I'm giving you a seller for 5 dinars to be paid later. I'm giving you a seller, and the seller now is worth 4 dinar, and basically I want you to give me back the 4 plus 1. Or it's a sign of chitim b'shalish. Or a person who lends another 2 saw of wheat for 3 saw to be returned later. So also this is prohibited. Because he's taking interest. That's neshech. Ezu tarbis. What is the case of tarbis? Amar bepedis. When it enters in a transaction that yields an increase in the produce beyond his investment. Okay, it's an house so. One acquired wheat from another at the price of 1 quart of wheat for 1 gold dinar, worth 25 silver dinars, with the wheat to be supplied at a later date. Such was the market price of wheat at the time he acquired. The price of the quart of wheat then increased and it stood at 30 dinars. Now, at that point, the buyer says to the seller, give me all my wheat now. I wish to sell and purchase wine with it. So the seller said to him, since it's ultimately wine that you want, not wheat, so each quart of your wheat is considered by me to be worth 30 dinars. So he basically tells them, he says, okay, no problem. Consider it to be worth 30 dinars, and you have the right to collect this value in wine from me. In this case, the seller did not have wine in his possession. Now, if wine then appreciated in value, the result will be an interest-bearing transaction, as the buyer collects from the seller wine worth more than the wheat which to be paid. From the fact that in expanding the term tarbis, the Tana sets aside the topic of interest deiraisa come refers to the Rabbanan, and instead explicits a case of lending which interest that is prohibited with Rabbanan. You conclude from here that the deraisa and neshech and tarbus are one thing. But aren't the psukim written using the term neshech for interest that is a loan on money, and tarbus or marbis for food? So why is it tizbut diga neshech play tarbus if tarbus play neshech? Can you understand that there's a neshech without tarbus and tarbus without neshech? Term neshech, from a root meaning bite, connotes loss of the borrower. The term tarbus literally increase connotes profits for the lender. Where it says tarshif neshech by tarbus yechidami, what are the circumstances where there could be neshech without tarbus? If in the case where one lends another 100 prutas, with the agreement to be repaid 120, mikara kama mea bedanki. Initially, 100 copper prutas are worth 1/6 of a dinar, and ultimately when he pays 120 prutas are worth 1/6 of a dinar. This is not an example of one without the other. Neshech, the kanaf thing. Although one might say that there's neshech as the lender reduces the borrower's assets since the lender takes the payment from the borrower, the kashaka takes but he doesn't give. But tarbus lekin, the less they nafcha. There's no tarbus, as there's no profit for the lender in these transactions. The dainki is for the dainki kashaka. Since he lent him 1/6 of a dinar, and he receives from him 1/6 of a dinar. So when it says safe, ultimately, if you go according to the initial value, there is neshech and there's tarbis, as the borrower agreed to pay more than he received. If you go according to the ultimate value, there's neither a neshech nor a tarbis, as you repaid only the value you received. Additionally, what are circumstances in which there could be a tarbis without neshech? If it's in a case where one lends to another 100 prutas, with the agreement to be paid 100, initially 100 copper prutas, and they're 1/6 of a dinar. Ultimately, when you repaid 100 prutas, are worth 1/5 of a dinar. It's not an example of one without the other. Mark says, if you go according to the initial value when the loan was granted, there's neither neshech nor tarbis. And if you go according to the ultimate value when the loan was repaid, there's a neshech and there's tarbis, as the value of 100 prutas has increased. Rabbi says, you do not find neshech without tarbis, but tarbis by neshech and not neshech without tarbis. A tear distinguish between them only so that the lending with interest always involves violating two isser. You shall not give him your money with neshech, and with marbis you shall not give him your food. I don't know over here the neshech for loan of money, and isser against the ribis for loan of food. Neshech b'yichim minayon. Where do we know that there's neshech with regards to loan of food as well? Tamleim it says neshech b'yichim. And ribis b'kesef minayon. Tamleim neshech b'kesef. It says neshech kesef. Now, neshech b'kesef. If it's not referring to the matter of neshech with money, if like it already says you should not lend interest, your brother to only in the ribis kesef, say that this is going on ribis of money. Brisa continues, ain't the other believer. I learned that the isser of with regards to a borrower from whom it is prohibited to pay interest on a loan. From where there's the derived that's also usher stated with regards to lender. Neshech believer, neshech b'mal. Neshech stated with regards to a borrower, neshech stated with regards to a lender. My neshech hamar believer, just like in regards to neshech, in regards to a borrower, there's no difference between loan of money, loan of food, or between whether the interest are forbidden as neshech or as ribis. Neshech hamar b'malda, so the neshech b'malda, tachlik mekesem meichim neshech b'ribis. There's no difference between all these cases. Menayin the Rabbis called davar. From where do we derive to include the isser against any other sir? Tamalim neshech called davar asher yishach. Neshech when if it is lent with interest. Avida Amar Rabbeinu says, "Le neshech b'yichol the ribis because of yitzchak." The pasuk is not required neither to derive neshech of food nor to derive ribis of money. Because of if the Torah would say, you shall not give him your money with neshech and your food with marbis, because like you said, the hashtag still says as kasbach you can read like this, as kasbach your money you shall not give for neshech, and for marbis, and for neshech, and for marbis you shall not give your food. But isn't the Tana of the Brisa saying that neshech of food and tarbis of money derived by means of a ger shava? So how can Ravina state that there's no ger shava is not needed? This is Hakikama. This is what Ravina is saying. If the Torah would not, if the pasuk had not stated the terms neshech of tarbis between money and food, you see ger shava. I was saying ger shava. Hashvash nemer kra. Now that it says a pasuk ger shava, let's say you don't need ger shava. Ger shava normally. So why don't you have ger shava? Neshech called over. You should have the lake sibin malve. That neshech of anything that is lent for interest, which is written with regards to a borrower, but not written with regards to a lender, it applies to a lender as well. Amar Rav says, why does the Torah have to tell me a prohibition with regards to interest, a prohibition with regards to robbery, and a prohibition with regards to cheating? A transaction where one of the parties overcharged or underpaid. There appears to be one principle underlying all three Yisurim. One must not take possession of another money in a legitimate way. So Gemara says tzricha. They're necessary. Because of they're only written the prohibition against with regards to interest because it's a prohibition, because it's a chiddush. That the mercy, the Teda prohibited alone with interest even for a borrower. Because of I would say it's due to the fact that it's an action taken against the will of the victim. I will know on regards to cheating. I would say not, because I would say that due to the fact that the victim does not know that he was the victim of therefore cannot waive repayment. The cases of interest and robbery, the borrower and the victim, respectfully, are aware that their money was taken and waiving repayment is possible. So perhaps these actions are not usher. Although no one from these Yisurim can be derived from one, so let's derive two from one. Let's say not read the labadibus. So the Gemara says no. They're not. There's no das. So it's done without the consent. We've seen the same with regards to interest, which the borrower gives with the consent as he agrees to accept the loan under these conditions. This is let the Teya not write the Isser with regards to and instead derive the Isser from these two, robbery and interest. So when it says these are not typical buying and selling. You say the same with regards to which is transgressed in the context of typical buying and selling. And later talking about lab because what says manach. So much as my panach, the maladi b'shken chidish and not chiach. So much as malay nishken liyadam machol. Over there, it doesn't know that it's being mechol. Libis the chiach. Chazadin lady zikri zikri. You're going basically going to go in circles. Now, what is the common denominator? Is shekain geizli. The one robs another of money, takes money from another that is not due to him. I too will also bring the issue against robbery, which shares the tzadashav and derive it from the other two yisurim. So when it says Amri, indeed the issue against robbery is extra. One are needed. The kavir slash socher. Pasuk is not written. It's written rather. It's just the istas, so the action of one who withholds the wages of a hired labor. So where it says kavir slash socher, but it seems that it says clearly, lay sashrik socher oni v'agin. Should not oppress a hired laborer who is poor and destitute. To tell me that you're going to be violate two prohibitions. I think but let us interpret the pasuk concerning robbery as prohibiting interest and it says the Yisra is written in the context of a sacher. Why do I need the Yisra that you shall not steal? And it says the Chedetanya. The Raisa says, make it. The one is you should not steal in order to aggravate the victim. You should not steal even in order to pay double. Why do I need the Isra against with regards to weights? For a seller who buries his weights of salt in order to lighten them. I know this is a full-fledged robbery. He's aver from the movement of the act. He violates this even before he actually sees a buyer with the buried weight. Should not do unrighteousness of judgment to measure weight during the volume. What does it mean in measure? This is referred to the measuring of land. One will not measure the land to be given to one during the summer, and measure the land to be given to the other during the rainy season, because the length of the measuring cord is affected by the weather conditions. In weight, the fact that he will not bury his measuring weight in salt. This volume teaches that the woman not froth the liquid when selling, creating an impression that there's more liquid in the vessel than it actually is. So the Gemara says, clearly this is a kavachemer. With regards to Mesuda volume, which equals 1/33 of a leg, the Torah was makbid kavachim lehing mechatzi, and if there's we're saying these things, which are much larger volumes, that one may not deceive another. Why does it say, the Ibishter says, mentions by Tis Mitzrayim by Ribis, by Tzitzis, and by weight. Hashem says, I was the one who distinguished in Mitzrayim between the drop of sea that becomes the firstborn and the drop of sea that does not become a firstborn. I am also he who is destined to exact punishment from one who attributes ownership of his money to a Gentile, never lets it either with interest. One who buries his weights in salt. I'm also the one who hangs tzitzis with a dye of his garment and says it's tchelis. In other words, Hashem has the ability to distinguish between two apparently like entities in which the Mitzrayim is mentioned in all these contexts. Ivina equal destroyed the press. Ivina happened to come to Surah on the Euphrates. So he asked them, why do I need to mention the exodus of Egypt by Shlotzah? I was the one who was able to distinguish this, and he also departed me from art of Kiridogam. I am also he who is destined to exact punishment for one who intermingles the innards of non-kosher fish with the innards of kosher fish and sells them to Yid. Amar later, Ravina said to him, I was not asking about the very mention of Mitzrayim. I was asking about the term who brings you up. Because of the why does the Torah say who brings you up? He says, had I not bring the Jewish people out from Egypt only for this matter, so they're not becoming pure by consuming creeping animals, dayi would have been sufficient for me. Ravina said to him, as the reward from this fteri from shtatzen, greater than interest on pari or tzitzis or weights. Even though the reward is not greater, it's more repulsive for you than the grouping animals. The Mishnah says, what is tarbis? In the case of one who enters into a transaction that yields an increase in the produce of his investment. Ketzad has a within his of. Case where one acquired wheat from another at the price of 1 quarter wheat for 1 gold dinner. This is till now we're speaking about where it says Adkan until here the wicked shall prepare and the righteous shall dawn. Where it says Adkan is ribis ksutza. Till here, we're talking about fixed interest, where the amount to be paid as interest was fixed at the time of the loan, which is also mediatis, and the kind of that's avak ribis. Or those ribis ksutza yet medianan. Fixed interest can be removed from the lender's possession by means of a legal proceeding by judges. Avak ribis any yet medianan. Ribis one marfil ribis ksutza nami any yet medianan. I want to meet my time that I be from Namakram Neshach Nasan the Tarbis Laka will highly yichas called Davis Ela Asal. He has given forth with an Ashech, and he took Tarbis, shall they live? He shall not live, he performed all these abominations. Let me can be afraid that one who does so is subject to shrinking the fear of heaven, but not to repayment. Be derived from the risk of itself. He shall be executed, his blood shall be upon it. In the verse, the pasuk lenders who charge interest were next to shedders of blood. Just as shedders of blood are not subject to repayment, lenders who charge interest are not subject to repayment. The pasuk says, and your brother shall live with you. Return the interest to him so that he may live.